Well, that was a really anticlimactic intro. Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Peter Jad Project channel. I am Peter. It'd be kind of weird if I wasn't. If I came in and was like, this is the Peter Jad Project channel, and then my name was like Mike or something. That'd be pretty fucking weird. This is about Project EOE, Echoes of Emily, and I am making more progress on the show. I have kind of hit a little bit of a writer's block, but I'm slowly working out of it. They're on their way, they're doing their journey, they're onto the adventures. It's just kind of hard at times to think about what I want to have in the script because I want to do so much, but at the same time it needs to make logical sense. For example, one of the first things that Gene is doing is something to see that he can trust his friends and that they are loyal to him. So he's going to be posing nude and ask them to paint a portrait of him. That's a big ask. But I think that, how do I put this? I think that is a big step because that's actually something that's on my own bucket list, is to pose nude one day. Not in a sexualized way or anything like that, but just, I think there's this level of confidence and comfort with your own self to do something like that. One of my friends is actually paid by the ASU art school to do that, and they're totally comfortable and confident with themselves, and I kind of envy that. I don't know if that's something I should envy, but I think that's pretty interesting that you can be so comfortable with yourself in such a vulnerable and exposed position. And it's almost like you have such high esteem for yourself and can allow yourself to be that vulnerable in front of strangers. Now, Gene is doing that with his friends. So it's similar, but also a little bit less risky? Or is it more risky because they're his friends? That is something to explore. One way I'm deciding on what acts or tasks are involved in the bucket list that will be in the play is how do they relate to the chakras and how that affects Gene's perspective of his own mind, heart, body, soul, and etc. I need to look up the chakras because I think those are 4 of them. I think there's 7. But at the same time, I could be very wrong and sound like a complete idiot right now. If I do, let me know. Or I'll find out right after I'm done recording here. There's an airplane and a dog barking, so I don't know if you can hear that. But if you can, don't mention it. Even though I am. Yep. But the other difficult thing is to make sure that I am telling these stories in a way that helps him grow as a person and also helps reveal these secrets or decisions that the other people have to make. And I'm pretty sure I know how to do that, he says with such confidence. I'm also writing more for Emily. Throughout the play, it cuts back to her at the Halloween party, and she's interacting with different people in different costumes. And some of these people are very friendly, some of them are very not friendly. I want to make sure I'm doing these characters justice. I also want to make sure that the topics I discuss are being done justice. Is that the correct phrasing? Being done justice? Being done just? Being done justly? I don't know. The English language is weird as hell. There is a scene that I wrote that I'm very interested to see how people respond to. I don't want to necessarily give it away right now, but I'm really happy with it. And I'm really ready to work on it and workshop it and see how I can improve it to better get the point across while also handling it with dignity and respect. Because that's something big to me, is dignity and respect. If you don't got that, what do you got? I went to a party on Saturday with some of my classmates. And nothing crazy happened, really. Mostly just had a few drinks, and I realize when I'm drunk, I reach a point where I'm just like really hyper, and then I get to a next point. I get to a point where I'm really hyper, and then the following point, I am totally, unapologetically complimenting people. I just like tell them how amazing they are and how happy I am that they met them and how much of an inspiration they are to me and what character traits they have that I think are exemplimentary, that I think are incredible traits to have in a person and to associate with a person. And acknowledging that it's all my opinion, of course, but I like them. And I do like the people I was with. They're all great people. If they happen to be watching this, thanks. But also, share it around. Like the video. Subscribe. Comment. I don't know. Engage. Damn you. The episode of Center Stage that I mentioned the last couple weeks hasn't come out yet because they are editing the video still, but they said that it should be out today, Monday, of the 20th, 21st? Whatever the Monday is now, because I post these on Tuesdays, so whatever yesterday was. So if you're watching this, odds are you can also listen to the podcast now. And we're really excited about that. You should also go to the State Press website when it comes out because there will be a video attached to it of the band that I interviewed performing for the first time in front of an audience, which was the State Press staff. And it was really interesting to have that experience. It's almost like NPR's Tiny Desk. And I didn't know how it would work. We had this new studio, and I wanted to try out some new things. But I think that it was pretty nice. Pretty cool. I talked to my mentor for my senior project, Dr. Mary McAvoy. She was my methods of teaching theater professor, and I've also taken classes with her wife, Kristen Hunt. And they are two incredible minds that I totally honor and totally respect because they have such a deep knowledge of theater and also creating theater and also acknowledging the context around theater historically and in the modern day and how it affects our society and how the actors respond to that society and how weird that can all be. And how it's not just, we wrote a play, we performed it. It's also, why was this play written? Who performed it where? For what audience? And how was the response? And what did that response affect? So I love their teaching styles, but I met with Mary McAvoy and we went over some of the stuff, and I acknowledge that I'm a little busy, so it might cut into some time that I had for the workshops. But at the same time, I think that those can be cut a little bit because I gave a month to write, a month for the workshops, and a month to record. Even though the recording, I might do an audition, I might not. If you are interested in being in it, comment that down below. Or don't, or just email me. If you know me, then message me. Hit me up, homies. I got you. But if you have any interest in that, let me know. I will set up a night where we kind of do a stage reading of it. A stage reading, for those who don't know, is basically where the actors don't move around, they don't have any blocking or costumes, and they're just reading from the script. What I'm going to do is make it an audio play, meaning that I'm going to place a microphone in the middle of the table, have the actors come in, and then we're just going to have them come in and out as needed. They can go into another room and get some food or something to drink, and just have it be a really fun, like, one-night thing. I don't think we really need to do many rehearsals, maybe just one to see about tone. So I can see that maybe being a week, 2 weeks, to just do a one rehearsal if needed, and then also doing the read-through and finding a day. But I also want to make sure that I have time to workshop because I really value other people's opinions. So much so that I sometimes find it to my own detriment. But I really appreciate when people can be honest and upfront about what they think of my work. And I only have one perspective of the world. I can only see the world through my eyes, through who I am as an individual, as a white Hispanic male, straight, in his early 20s. So I only have that perspective. So I need to deliver this to other people. And McAvoy was really great about showing me some places I could send it to, including some classes at ASU, as well as my own friend groups, as well as my own colleagues, and just some other people that I can really send this off to and see what they think. I think it's been a good week. I think I really just needed to step away for a bit, have a little bit of fun, and hammer down that project. So what I'm thinking is that it's still very possible, still very doable. I just need to crack down and figure out how to make this as good as possible. And I have confidence that I can do that. I had some classmates actually read it on Monday last week, and they all loved it. Like, I sort of just presented this initial scene, this first scene where we meet all the main players and characters, and they just kind of dug it. They said it felt very, like, sitcom-y, but at the same time all the people felt very real and lived in, which is great because that's what I value in characters, is when you can almost picture them as somebody you see down the street. But they're also these larger-than-life characters that have insane senses of humor, find themselves in odd situations, and are very upfront about how they're responding to those situations. And I think that I've done that successfully. A lot of the stuff that I was very insecure or worried about was kind of thrown to the wayside. For example, I do this thing where, to sort of beef up the script and also make the people feel more real, is I go on tangents and banter a bit. So there's one point when they're showing off gifts that they're giving to Jean, and Amanda shows off the snow globe with a little cowboy in it. And I created this whole fictional TV show called Icy Outlaw that they rant on about, and is apparently this big craze around that Langston hasn't seen. And it just kind of throws him off. Like, why are you giving him a snow globe with a cowboy in it? He's not in cowboy. He's like, it's his favorite show, Langston. Be his friend, damn it. And I also explored why they're hiding some stuff. For example, Langston is going to be moving to San Francisco from Tempe. And he hasn't told anyone yet. He doesn't know how to. And he's doing this thing where he pushes people away and kind of distances himself. So when he does leave, it's not as impactful and it doesn't hurt as much. Jess is debating dropping out of college, even though she really loves it. But she doesn't agree with this whole idea of performing arts having to be so formulative and having to have logic and reasoning and have to fit into these specific categories, which is something I agree with. And some teachers were so bad at their jobs, that's almost what made me drop out. None of them that I'm currently working with. Well, yeah, none of them. We're good. Sylvia is trying to figure out what's wrong with Jess. Amanda is trying to approach Edgar and see if they can rekindle something. And I'm so excited now that I'm past the exposition stage and I'm writing all this crazy weird stuff and finding out how it fits and finding all these little pieces of the puzzle and how they reveal more about these characters and their secrets, how they relate to Gene himself and what he wants to get out of him, and how we get to the end where Emily is about to be born and Edgar is gone. That's something I'm struggling with because, spoiler alert, if you don't want to know the end of the show, you might want to tune out for the rest of the video. So Edgar is going to die. I established that early on. And I want to establish that Gene is in this weird dark place where he's contemplating death a lot, and he doesn't know how to deal with the fact that it's totally and utterly random. I think that having Edgar die is this weird bit of symbolism that life is random. Life has no real meaning, only what you put into it. And for Gene to see that firsthand, how does that affect him? Do we get to see how it affects him? I also am concerned because even though Edgar isn't a main character now, I want to make sure that I do him justice and don't just have him blink off screen. Or maybe I do. Maybe I do want him to just end up dead suddenly. And if so, how? Like if I have him in a car crash, does that really change up anything? Or does that feel cheap? And like the audience was invested in him only to have that taken away. But isn't that kind of life? Isn't that what happened to that one singer on America's Got Talent who was shot after a couple months of winning? Isn't that what happens to so many great people? And why this thing like the 27 Club exists? I don't know. I guess what we have to take away is to value all these moments when we can say that we made connections and we were confident to try new things. And we acknowledge how much people mean to us and tell them. And we were able to spend time with them and have fun and be vulnerable around them. I think I did a lot of that this week. And I hope I get to keep doing that in the script and in real life. I love you guys. Whoever watches this, I love you and I appreciate you. Even though you will be just a weird digit on the YouTube analytics page of my channel. I appreciate it. You make a really fine digit, and I'm going to end it there. You fine, fine digit. Peace.